I'd heard so many stories about kids who had been OD'd and left, and the same thing basically happened to Vanessa. She was put in a room and closed the door, and had they called 911, she would have survived. Our daughter, Vanessa Coriel Porter, so gifted, so talented. In everything she touched, she was great at. 2010, 3 days after her 22nd birthday, I got home late. Vanessa wasn't home, so I started calling her phone. No answer, straight to voicemail. Just kept going, calling. This person who had OD'd her and put her in a room and just let her pass. This drug that he gave her, she thought it was something else, according to the girls who were there. It was called Opana, but it had been banned in this country for a decade. Lobby dollars brought it back. One pill could end 4 lives. At 1 o'clock in the morning, her phone got turned off. And then I get a phone call the next afternoon by a friend screaming in the phone, say it's not so, say she's not dead. So you can imagine what that did to me. You know, it's just complete devastation. You know, there's nothing like that shock or pain that'll ever come into your life. There's just nothing like it. The two things that I had really prayed for and wanted to see occur was the Good Samaritan law, because I'd heard so many stories about kids who had been OD'd and left in a field, at the beach, at the door of the emergency room without, ringing the bell to let them know that they were out there, who had lost their lives. And the same thing basically happened to Vanessa. She was put in a room and closed the door, and had they called 911, she would have survived. They didn't. Found out she passed about 4 in the morning after he turned her phone off at 1. All of a sudden I get this phone call from this guy, TJ. And he says, "Hey man, I'm looking for a bass player." And a friend of mine, Michael Buchanan, said, "You have to talk to Vernon Porter." And if I remember correctly, he told me you were on a run and heard a Logan song and went, "Who's this bass player?" But he lives right down the street from me. Give him a call. Through our conversations, when you called me and we agreed to meet for coffee, we sat there and you shared your, heart-wrenching story, but also a great story about Zach and his overcoming. And then I recall looking at you and going, "Do you know anything about our story with my daughter Vanessa?" And you said, "No." So through that connection and just the months thereafter of you and I having long conversations and sharing our hearts about what we wanted to do, and how really our lives had morphed into this thing of trying to find ways of continually helping those who are caught up in the throes of addiction. Most people don't want to be there. It was just incredible that your story about you and Zach, and not having any knowledge of what we had gone through with Vanessa, and here we are sitting there talking about this, and it's just like, okay, I'm listening, God. So with all those conversations, hearts joined together, and all the things that you did, we were initially just talking about me, I think, playing bass on a couple of tracks, and that evolved into, well, would you, be interested in producing this? It's like, of course, so humbled to do anything I can do, and the people that we brought in, great synergy, Tristan Bowden, Bruce Bollinger, great friend Mark McMillan, who just did such an incredible job arranging your wonderful songs. Michael Paulo, Lenny Castro, and then the legends who came alongside this thing, Bill Champlin, who lost a son, Richard Page, who lost a granddaughter, Michael McDonald, Bill Medley. His heart was very sensitive and tender to this, because, everybody in that circle has known somebody who's passed from this. The end game is so that could go out to people and they could support Demand Impact. You were able to get resources over to young people in recovery, and just like with a Good Samaritan law, it starts with the one. To have the opportunity to continue on with what we broke ground with the first Heroes and Legends, and the amazing people that are now wanting to come alongside us to do the next one. And that's all that matters. So anybody that can come alongside what we're doing and be a part of this partnership to change lives, it's a pretty high calling.